Hey, what is up guys, welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be continuing on with our Swift programming tutorial series, and in this particular tutorial we are going to be taking a look at sets in Swift. Now, what are sets? Well, sets are a type of collection that is unordered and must contain unique elements, right? So you can't have duplicates. An example of where you might not want to use a set is, let's say you're building a gradebook application. Generally speaking, you're going to have grades that are, that are equal among various students. So you can't have a set for those. Same thing goes for storing all of your students. Many students have the same name, or either that or the likelihood of them having the same name is likely. So a set wouldn't be a good option. You might want to use an array instead for that sort of thing. Now, sets still are a very powerful kind of collection, especially if you know every element that you're going to store in it is going to be unique. And there are many kinds of operations that you can do with a set. We will cover only a few of them, but I highly recommend that you go and look at the Apple documentation and the Swift.org documentation. They are generally similar, but either way, I recommend looking at both of them, as well as other resources, to kind of learn a little bit more about sets beyond what I'm going to show you in this video. So let's get started with how exactly we create a set, because there are two ways of doing it, and they're important to know exactly how each of these works. Alright, so in Xcode, let's go into Xcode and go to the top of our file here. First thing you're going to need to do is to import Foundation, because set is part of Foundation. It's not part of the Swift standard library. Okay? So, now, let's go ahead and create a set. The first way that you can create a set is by using the same syntax you would for creating an array that you already know the elements for. The only thing here is that when you use this syntax, if you want this to be a set, you have to use a type annotation. Otherwise, type inference will infer that it's an array. All right? So to create a set, we can say var fruits colon set. We'll say this is a set of strings. Okay. Now, because this is what we call a generic collection, it requires that you have the type you want to store in your set in between opening and closing angle brackets. Okay, equals and then in between opening and closing square brackets, we can put the elements that we want to have. So we'll say apple, comma, banana, blackberry, and oranges. Okay, so we have a set of fruits. It's a set of strings, which is pretty much just going to contain the names of different fruits. We're only putting a few of them in there to start with, so we have some data to work with. All right. Now, the other way that we can create a set is by using the set initializer. And we do this by saying var other fruits equals set of strings and left and right parentheses. There we go. Now you can see that while this line is slightly shorter than the previous one, we don't have any items preloaded into other fruits. And that's where the insert method for a set comes in. The insert method does exactly what it sounds like. It inserts an item into a set. All right, so what we'll do is we're going to use this insert method to put some more fruits into our other fruits array. Or rather, set, not an array. So if we say other fruits dot insert we can say kiwi other fruits dot insert blueberries other fruits dot insert let's say grapes. All right, so we added three fruits to the other fruits set. However, just so we can work with this in another way later on, we'll say other fruits dot insert apple, like that. Now pay attention to this. We inserted apple into our other fruits set, just like it's in our fruits set. Keep that in mind as we move forward. So now that we have fruits inside of both of our sets, the next method we're going to take a look at is contains. This method essentially returns a Boolean that will tell you whether or not your set contains a specific element. Now, the reason why we use this method instead of something like the syntax for referring to an element by its index is because you can't refer to an element by its index in a set. The reason for that is because a set is unordered, right? So there's no way to know at what index a specific element is at, because there's no concept of an index with a set. All right? So the way we call this is we can say something like fruits. Actually, let's say var. Oops, that was my watch. My apologies. Does contain grapes equals fruits dot contains grapes. we can then say print does contain grapes. And we save this. We can run our code then. And in your debug area in your console, you will see false. Now, why is false being printed? Well, that's because our normal fruits set doesn't have grapes in it. Grapes is in our other fruits set. So if we were to change this, let's see, if we were to change this from fruits to other fruits, like so, and we save our code and run it, inside of our console, we will get true. So in fact, let's go ahead and go into our debug area, go into the console. We get true because other fruits has grapes within it. All right, so I'm going to go into here. Now, the next method that I'm going to take a look at is union. Now, what does union do? Well, it's pretty simple. The union method combines two sets into a single set, and it will return that new set. Now, of course, remember what I mentioned? How I mentioned a set can only contain unique values? Well, our other fruits and fruits set have a value in common, and that is apple. So when we combine these two sets to say all fruits, there will only be one apple element. There won't be two. And we can take a look at this by saying var all fruits equals fruits dot union more fruits. Oh, wait, no. It's not more fruits, it's other fruits. There we go. There we go. Okay. And then we can print out all of the elements of this set by looping through it. And we can loop through a set easily by saying for fruit in fruits and print fruit. Save this. And run your code now. If we go into our debug area to our console, we can see we get true because, again, other fruits contains grapes. We get banana, blackberry, oranges, apple. So that is our fruits, right? If we go into our, let's see here, we go into our main Swift. And we change this to other fruits. Go ahead and run this. We get all of the fruits from the other fruits set. Well, let's change other fruits to all fruits. So save this, run it again. If we go into debug, go into our console. Now we get apple, banana, blackberry, blueberries, grapes, and oranges, and kiwi. Because we have combined the two sets together into a single set, and we're looping through that set. All right, so that is how you can combine two sets together and then loop through them as needed. The next method we're going to take a look at is intersection. Now, what does this method do? Well, this method will return a new set with all of the elements from both sets that are the same. So, in this case, fruits and other fruits have apple in common. So this set will only contain apple. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. So we can say var intersecting fruits equals fruits dot intersection, and we want other fruits. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and loop through our intersecting fruits by saying for fruit in intersecting fruits and print fruit. Now, to avoid confusion, I'm going to comment out this other for loop up here. So let's go ahead and save this, and we run our code. Let's go down into our debug list, or rather our debug area here. Debug area, go into our console, and we only get apple, because again, apple is the only element that our two sets has in common. All right, so that is the intersection method. And finally, the last method we're going to take a look at is the remove method. Now, this method does exactly what it sounds like. It removes an element. From a set. Now, what we can do as well to complement this is you can also use the contains method to determine whether or not the element you want to delete is actually in the set. So if it doesn't exist, you don't have to even execute remove at all. But we're just going to call remove on its own. And what we'll do is we will remove apple from other fruits. All right, so go ahead and say other fruits dot remove apple, like that. Go ahead and save your code and run it in now inside of your debug area console. You won't see much difference. Okay? You won't see much difference. You'll still see apple being printed as well as true. But if we go back to the top of our file here, what I'm going to do I'm going to comment out a few lines to avoid any confusion here. Okay, what we'll do now I'm going to get rid of this for loop here. Or rather, I'm just going to comment it out. And so then at the end of our code, we will do a for fruit in other fruits. I'm going to print fruit. Go ahead and save that and run it. Now, when we go into our debug area, into our console, we only get blueberries, kiwi, grapes, and that's it. We only get the initial 3 elements from our other fruits array, or rather our other fruits set, I should say. And why is this? Because we removed apple from the set using the remove method. And so really that just about does it for what we're going to talk about with sets. Again, there are so many other things that you can do with a set, and I highly recommend that you go and read the documentation because there's so much there. You will learn a lot from it. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.